This is Story Recapped. Today, I'm going to explain an action, crime, and sci-fi film called Chappie. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Due to the rising crime rates in Johannesburg, South Africa, robotic police scouts are introduced. Tetravale, the robot's manufacturer, assures the public that they have a bulletproof guard key system that only allows the company to make any software updates. Tetravale also created a larger remote-controlled robot named the Moose, developed by weapons designer and former soldier Vincent Moore. Vincent is against artificial intelligence, believing that human-controlled robots are still safer. Deon Wilson, the developer of the robotic scouts, argues that their AI system is developed with true intelligence that can think and feel. At Tetravale Robotics, a robot called Scout 22 is transported in for repairs. The repairman comments how this robot is always damaged soon after deployment. He repairs the robot's antennae and powers it back on. Immediately, Scout 22 arms itself and heads to its position. Meanwhile, a group of thieves, Ninja, Yolandi, Pitbull, and America, reach their gang's base where their leader, Hippo, berates them for failing their last deal. He demands 20 million rands, otherwise he kills them. To prove that he's serious, Hippo shoots Pitbull, then warns the rest that they have 7 days to get his money. When scouts arrive in the area, the gang fights the robots while Ninja and his team struggle to escape. Ninja spots the man who took their keys, but he escapes in a car. Scout 22 sees the car and fires at it, causing it to flip. Ninja fights his way to the burning vehicle and retrieves his van's keys. Soon, Scout 22 finds the Hippo, who shoots it with a rocket. At Tetravale Robotics, CEO Michelle Bradley announces that the police have ordered 100 new scouts. The staff celebrates and congratulates Deon for his project's continued success. Michelle then encourages Vincent that his project still has a chance. She advises him to keep the project costs down, but Vincent is tired of getting his project's funding cut. Deon is called to the warehouse to check on Scout 22. Upon seeing the damage, Deon instructs the crew to salvage the CPU and crush the rest of its parts. In their hideout, Ninja's team recuperates. However, Hippo calls Ninja, reminding him that they owe him. Yolandi suggests one final job to pay off Hippo and escape with the rest of the money. Ninja thinks that they can rob a van that's transporting cash to a bank, but America knows that the scouts will just come after them. Yolandi formulates a plan to steal a scout's remote from one of the Tetravale employees to allow them to switch the robots off. That evening, Deon arrives home and records a video journal, reporting his progress on his AI programming. After working on the AI code for hours, Deon finally perfects his programming. Deon rushes to the warehouse and tells the crew not to destroy Scout 22. He then announces to Michelle that he has finally created an artificial intelligence smarter than a human. He promises that the AI will be able to make judgments like a human, but Michelle laughs at his claims. He asks for permission to install the program on Scout 22, promising that it won't cost the company anything. Michelle refuses, given all the paperwork that it will lead to. Deon goes to his desk, disappointed about the outcome, and after much thought, he decides to proceed anyway. Deon heads to the warehouse and transports Scout 22 by himself. He then takes a guard key chip and loads a few spare parts into his van. Deon drives back to his home, but Ninja's team blocks him and knocks him out. In the hideout, Ninja wakes up Deon and beats him. They demand that he give them the switch to turn off the robots, but Deon reveals that the scouts don't have an off switch. America collects the others, showing them what's in Deon's van. Yolandi gets an idea to have Deon build the robot and program it to fight for them. When they bring this up to Deon, he explains that the robot in his van is still in progress, but it can be trained to do whatever they want if it works. He claims that the programming will be like a child, evolving and learning. While Deon works on Scout 22, he reveals that the battery is unchangeable and will only run for 5 days. After fixing the hardware, Deon uses the guard key to install the new AI, then powers it on. At first, it acts like a scared child hiding from the humans, but Yolandi convinces it to come out. Deon is happy to see that his program works. The robot becomes curious and slowly learns their language, much to everyone's amusement. Yolandi names the robot Chappie. Ninja then intervenes and pulls Deon out of the scene, threatening him not to return. Deon, however, stresses that Chappie is his creation and he must continue to train him. Yolandi tries to convince Ninja to allow Deon to return, but Ninja fires a warning shot, forcing Deon to leave. At Tetravale Robotics, Vincent sneaks into the warehouse to retrieve the guard key, but finds it missing. Upon accessing the computer, he discovers that the guard key is still installed on Scout 22. In the morning, Chappie explores the hideout and becomes intrigued by random items. Ninja finds it and proceeds to train it to shoot a gun. However, the robot is still scared of him. Still, Ninja forces a gun onto Chappie, and it ends up shooting a punching bag instead. Yolandi scolds Ninja, arguing that the robot isn't ready. Ninja's frustrated and reminds him that they're dead if they don't get the money for Hippo. At Tetravale Robotics, Deon researches early childhood development until Vincent interrupts him. Vincent asks him for the guard key, explaining that he wants to use it to check the security levels for Moose. Deon denies, given that they have protocols against this. Vincent then holds him down and aims a gun at him, blaming him for his project's lack of funds. He demands the guard key again, but Deon still refuses. Vincent pulls the trigger, then laughs, revealing that his gun isn't loaded. Still, Deon is driven to the edge, so he leaves the office not knowing that Vincent is following him. At the hideout, Yolandi and America teach Chappie. Yolandi convinces Chappie to call her mommy, and America is amused when it starts copying him. Soon, Deon arrives, but Yolandi warns him that Ninja will be back soon. Deon is just happy to see his creation, though he's stunned when it starts talking like a gangster. He asks Chappie to promise him not to do anything illegal, much to Yolandi's disappointment. Deon then shows Chappie a book and teaches him how to paint. Vincent sneaks around the hideout and sees Deon with Chappie. He's surprised to see the robot paint, and sees the guard key installed on Chappie. Afterward, he drives back to the office. Deon and Yolandi are amazed to see Chappie paint, but their joy is cut short when Ninja arrives. Ninja shoots Deon, but Yolandi pushes him, making him miss. Yolandi argues that they're just teaching Chappie, but Ninja still refuses to hear it. Deon threatens to call the police on Ninja for mistreating his robot before leaving. When he's gone, Yolandi and Ninja argue over Chappie, but America receives a call about a job that's worth 600 million rands. To prepare Chappie, Ninja and America take Chappie out and leave him on a lot where a small gang is hanging out. Thinking it will teach the robot how to defend itself, they then leave the robot behind, allowing the gang to attack Chappie. Deon arrives home, frustrated over losing his AI to the thugs. He then gets a call from Tetravale Security, demanding that he return the guard key by the end of the day. Meanwhile, Chappie struggles to return to the hideout. Soon it rests on an empty lot and meets a dog. Vincent and his team locate Chappie and blast it with an EMP wave to disable it. With Chappie in their van, the men attempt to retrieve the guard key, but the robot struggles. Frustrated, Vincent saws off its arm. Once Vincent retrieves the guard key, he moves to dismantle the robot further, but Chappie fights back and escapes. Finally, Chappie arrives at the hideout. Yolandi berates Ninja for allowing it to get hurt. America installs a spare arm on Chappie, allowing it to move again. Later, Yolandi reads the book that Deon left behind for Chappie. Using the book, Yolandi teaches Chappie that it's what's inside that makes it special. The next day, Deon purchases a gun to get Chappie back. In the hideout, Chappie makes a doll to look like Yolandi, but Ninja interrupts him. Ninja apologizes to the robot, promising that he will help it be stronger. Ninja teaches Chappie to act like a gangster, but it refuses to shoot people. This angers Ninja, but America calms him down. America then teaches Chappie to stab people, lying that it will make them sleep. The two then teach Chappie to use other weapons like nunchucks and throwing stars. Afterward, they paint on Chappie and accessorize him before leaving. Ninja instructs Chappie to retrieve a car from a man by threatening him with a gun. However, Chappie drops the gun and uses a wrench instead, destroying the car in the process. As they drive away, Ninja scolds the robot and tells him that they need the car to be nice to sell it. Chappie tries again and successfully steals a few cars. Later, Ninja and America take Chappie to the King's hideout. The gang inside panic upon seeing Chappie, thinking that he's the police. They leave Chappie at the entrance before heading up to see the King. The King offers them weapons and explosives for their heist in exchange for the cars. Meanwhile, Chappie inspects the surroundings and finds a dead dog. Ninja returns and tells it that life is hard and it has to fight to survive. Chappie denies this, saying that it's indestructible. However, Ninja points out that it's low in battery. Its battery is melted into its body, so once it runs out, Chappie dies. Ninja argues that Deon put him into a broken body, but Chappie stresses that Deon cares for him. Ninja then promises to get Chappie a new body if they do the heist, finally convincing the robot to help them. At their hideout, Deon arrives, but Yolandi tells him that Ninja took Chappie. Moments later, Ninja and the rest return. Deon tries to get Chappie's attention, but it ignores him. Deon scolds Chappie for helping Ninja with their crimes, but Chappie argues that Deon made it with a dying battery. Meanwhile, Vincent sneaks back to the warehouse and installs a program for all the remaining scouts. The program causes the scouts' firmware to malfunction, resulting in multiple accidents. Chappie's CPU also fries, and Deon panics, aiming a gun at Ninja before taking Chappie away. The city plunges into chaos with the robot scouts offline. Due to this, the human police force is deployed. With his plan successful, Vincent deletes the program that shut down the scouts to leave no trace. However, Deon arrives at the warehouse before the deletion is complete. Deon drags Chappie into a workstation to reboot the robot. When he plugs Chappie into a computer, the computer detects Vincent's program as a virus, so he quarantines it, preventing Vincent from deleting the program on Chappie. Soon, Chappie reboots and Deon hurries him to leave, but Chappie gets interested in Moose. Chappie gets distracted by another scout body, hoping that transferring itself into the robot will save it. Deon reveals that it's not possible because Chappie is conscious and not data that can be copied. Hearing this, Chappie steals the neural helmet that controls Moose before running away. Before Deon can chase it, he receives a call from Michelle. A group of police officers enters the warehouse, so Vincent shuts his computer down and leaves. Chappie returns to the hideout and hooks up the neural helmet to a computer. When Yolandi asks what he's doing, it puts the helmet on her to check that it works. Chappie wants to use the helmet's programming to copy its own consciousness into a new body. Meanwhile, Michelle orders Deon to figure out what happened to the scout robots. Vincent tries to use this opportunity to deploy Moose, but Michelle still refuses him. By morning, Chappie tries to run a program to copy its consciousness into the neural helmet, but it fails, and after many tries, Chappie finally loads its consciousness onto the computer. Ninja then collects him for their heist. The team gears up for the heist and corners a transport truck. Chappie pulls the officers out of the van and collects the money. During this, Deon finally discovers why the scouts went offline. He confronts Vincent, but the news reports of Chappie helping the heist catches his attention. Deon threatens Vincent before leaving to help Chappie. On the road, Chappie confronts the officer that he attacked, wondering why he's not sleeping. Chappie apologizes to the officer before leaving. Vincent then approaches Michelle and lies that Deon's new AI programming caused the scouts to go offline. He recounts seeing Deon bring in a sentient scout last night. Remembering Deon asking for permission to use the new AI days ago, Michelle is convinced and approves Moose's deployment. Moose is soon activated while Deon rushes to a restricted area to arm himself. He loads the equipment in his van and drives off. Vincent puts on his neural helmet and operates the Moose. In the van, Chappie insists that they buy its new body, but Ninja admits that they can't. Realizing that it's been lied to, Chappie becomes aggressive. Deon soon catches up to their van just as Chappie throws Ninja out. Chappie berates everyone for lying to it. Deon, however, informs him that Moose is arriving to destroy Chappie. Deon has gathered weapons to disable Moose, but Chappie no longer wants to fight. Suddenly, Hippo arrives and demands both the money and the robot. Ninja fires at Hippo's gang while Chappie fiddles with the materials in Deon's van. However, Moose arrives, stopping the gunfight. America fires at the robot, but it rips his body apart. Angered, Ninja fires at the machine and it burns their van in retaliation, burning the money as well. Moose then flies up and launches explosives at them. Vincent laughs at seeing the men scramble away from the bombs. Finally, Vincent spots Deon. Chappie finally emerges and fires at the larger robot and throws a bomb at it. But before Chappie could detonate the bomb, Vincent fires at its arm. Moose shoots at the people, so Chappie takes Yolandi out of the way. Deon gets in his van to escape, but Hippo attacks him to steal the vehicle. Ninja pulls Hippo off the man but gets shot in the leg. Hippo then shoots Deon in the stomach. Ninja slams a shovel at Hippo, then calls Chappie to help Deon back into the van. Ninja and Yolandi get into the van and drive off, but Chappie stops to retrieve the neural helmet. Vincent fires at them and damages the helmet before Chappie can get it. Chappie tells Ninja that they have to go back to the Tetravale warehouse to get another helmet to save Deon. Ninja then volunteers to distract Moose while they escape, despite Yolandi's protests. As the van drives away, Ninja fires at Moose, unwilling to let him die. Yolandi hops out of the van, picks up a gun, and fires it at the machine. Moose then shoots at Yolandi, killing her. Chappie catches Yolandi's body, then spots the detonator nearby. It jumps forward and detonates the bomb, blowing up Moose into pieces. Ninja and Chappie mourn over Yolandi's body. Enraged, Chappie asks Deon who killed his mother and promises to crush the man. Chappie drives into the Tetravale Robotics building and carries Deon inside. Vincent shoots at Chappie then runs away, but the robot throws a wrench at his leg. Vincent limps into the office area, but Chappie continues to pursue, yelling at him for killing Yolandi. The robot beats up Vincent close to death, before claiming to have forgiven him. Then, Chappie carries Deon into the warehouse to transfer his consciousness into a robot. Chappie puts the neural helmet on Deon just as the police arrive. The robot activates the program, transferring Deon's consciousness to the spare robot. The spare robot suddenly wakes up as Deon. Deon wants to do the same for Chappie, but with no other spare robot, Chappie has accepted its fate. Deon remembers that Vincent used his computer to transfer the virus to the scouts. He can use it to transfer Chappie's consciousness into another body. Chappie loads up the program while the police are breaking the doors open. Deon activates the program, and Chappie's body goes limp. When the police finally open the doors, Deon escapes into a vent and reunites with Chappie in his new body. and at the hideout, Ninja burns all the items in mourning. Amongst Yolandi's items, he finds a flash drive labeled Mommy's Consciousness. Ninja remembers how Chappie used the neural helmet on Yolandi first, successfully copying her consciousness. The next day, they bury Yolandi, and Chappie promises to give her a new body. Due to the events, the authorities have suspended the use of robotic officers. The police have also issued a warrant to arrest Chappie, and days later, Chappie remotely accesses Tetravale's robotic warehouse to create a new body for Yolandi.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.